If you've ever bought every kind of planner, used index cards, apps, lists on the fridge, and still missed the dentist appointment, this conversation might feel familiar because that level of effort usually means something else is going on. Hi, I'm Sara Jane. If you're new here, this channel is where I talk through midlife, ADHD, work, identity, and what it actually looks like to live inside a brain you've been negotiating with for a long time. Today, I want to talk about burnout, not as a sudden crisis, but as something that often arrives after years of trying to manage the things the best way you know how. And I want to be clear about something up front. My ADHD diagnosis didn't come recently. It came about 20 years ago. And for a long time after that, I still didn't know how to live with it. Getting diagnosed gave me language. What it didn't give me was a manual. I knew the name of the thing, but I didn't know how to accommodate it. I didn't know how to design a life around it. I mostly tried to keep going the same way, just with more awareness and honestly, a lot of self-criticism. For years, I floundered, not dramatically, not in ways where other people could easily see, but internally, constantly. I tried systems that worked for other people. I tried being more disciplined. I tried pushing through. I tried treating knowledge like it should automatically translate into ease. And you know what? It didn't. Not at all. The reason I could keep going for so long was capability. I could compensate. I could overcompensate. I could prepare. I could anticipate problems and build structures to manage them. So I did. Planners came and went, notebooks accumulated, index cards lived in file boxes and drawers all over my home. Lists moved from the fridge to my phone to whatever app promised to finally make things stick. And still, the dentist appointment would slip by. Not always, not catastrophically, just often enough to remind me that effort and outcome weren't lining up. For a long time, I took that mismatch personally. Burnout didn't arrive for me as a dramatic collapse. It arrived as erosion, as the steady wearing down that comes from always compensating, always thinking ahead, always holding responsibility because you're good at it and someone has to. Midlife made this harder. There was less margin, more demand, hormonal changes that shifted how my energy worked, work that required sustained attention without much room to recover. The systems I'd been relying on, many of them held together by sheer will, started to fail. I was doing what I'd always done, and it wasn't holding. For many women, myself included, this is when the explanation starts to feel closer than it ever did before. What helped wasn't trying harder. What helped was giving myself grace, slowly, imperfectly, and not all at once. I stopped looking for the perfect system and started paying attention to small systems that worked. I made my life as predictable as I could on purpose. I reduced unnecessary decisions. I stopped asking myself to be someone that I was not wired to be. I accepted that some things would always take more effort and that this wasn't a personal failing. This wasn't a breakthrough moment. It was a long adjustment, and it's still ongoing. At this point, I'm less interested in fixing ADHD than I am in living with it honestly. That means designing a life that actually fits my current capacities, respecting limits I used to argue with, choosing a steadiness over aspiration more often than I used to. It also means letting go of the fact and the idea that diagnosis should have solved something. What if it gave me a place to start? The rest has been practice. If any of this sounds familiar, you don't need to do anything with it right now, but I am curious. If you were diagnosed years ago, what did the after look like for you? And if you weren't, does the explanation feel closer now than it did before? You can leave a comment if you want, or just hold the question. This conversation is part of the Late Bloomer's Guide to ADHD, where I talk about ADHD, identity, and energy in midlife. If you want to stay with these conversations, you're welcome to subscribe.